There's the bait, and in this case I'm going to use this thing called a pike scissor. It's a spring-loaded hook that really gets hold of the fish and doesn't let it get away. But you could use just an ordinary hook weighted down with a bit of ballast. And I've attached the line to this stick, which has got a fork in it. Now the reason for this is I'm going to suspend the line in the hole using this stick, and if the hole freezes I can chip it out without cutting the line, which is lower down. That's important. So I just drop the fish straight down the hole. Have to encourage him down a little bit. Use another stick for that. There he goes. Down it goes. So hold that there. You can put it on the lip, but it's better to use a second stick like this. Now, fishing holes like this freeze from the edge in if they're left on their own. So to prevent that, I'm going to stuff some spruce boughs down beside it. Right here. A good packing of spruce boughs will stop it freezing hard. And the last thing is to cover it all over with snow to keep it insulated. That also helps to prevent it freezing solid. And then I'll put a little twig in here just to mark its location.
I'll set another 5 hooks and leave them all overnight, and we'll see what we get.
Tell you what, that's the coldest my hands have been all the time I've been here. And the reason for that is that down on these lakes you get lots of low-lying cold air. You need a top tip then, this one. If you can't touch a little finger to your thumb and make this old Indian sign that means I'm alright, you're in trouble. Because your hands are so cold you can't perform simple operations like lighting a fire or even driving out of here. The human eye can't see heat escaping from our bodies, but in these conditions you can literally feel it leaking away.
With a thermal imaging camera, you can really see what happens. The white and yellow areas show where I'm losing most heat. When I take off my glove, you can see just how quickly heat transfers to the glove. And if I touch anything like a glass fibre snowmobile with my bare hand, you can see how much heat I lose by conduction.
In deep snow, just moving can be almost impossible. When you consider that on a snowmobile, what takes 15 minutes travelling by machine can take up to 24 hours to walk, there are some real problems. Being able to improvise can be vital. I guess you could say I'm improvising now. I've borrowed the crew's cabin here so that I can show you clearly how to make this. This is the tool that will get you out through deep snow, the improvised snowshoe.
Any wood will work for this as long as it's flexible. Stripping the bark off helps the bindings to stay tight.
Now I'm just going to tie them loosely to start with at the fine tip. Now I've got to establish the point of balance for the snowshoe, because when I walk in it only the toe is going to be attached, and I want the point to tip up so that it doesn't dig into the snow each time I take a step. There we go, I've lashed on the 2 cross pieces. This forward one goes under the ball of my foot and this rearward one under the heel. I've obviously used nylon cord. There's no real way of improvising that from natural materials in this environment in the winter, so that's one of the critical pieces of equipment you should always have in your pocket. At the tail end of the snowshoe, I just loosely bind the sticks together so that there's a bit of movement in them, some play, so they don't get broken. To finish a snowshoe, I need to curve the prow up like that, just like a ski, with this cord here, and put on some binding material. I'm using lamp wick, which is a strange material that very commonly used in the far north. It's been used for binding materials for centuries, and it's absolutely perfect for this job. Something you can often find left in cabins. Right, well, the proof of the pudding is in the doing. In survival situations, small things can make big differences. It's the custom in the Arctic Circle to always leave kindling in refuge huts so that someone who's cold can rewarm themselves quickly. It's also the custom to leave a box of matches with the matches sticking out like that, something that saved many lives. A few years ago, a man stationed in a remote weather station in Greenland managed to save his own life by following this common courtesy. He'd gone polar bear hunting with a colleague when, after spending the first night in a hut, they set out on a snowmobile in temperatures of -20. Well, they hadn't gone very far before the machine broke through ice. The passenger managed to jump off, and he took his gloves off and pulled the driver off of the machine, which had already gone into water. They tried to stagger back to the hut, but after only 100 yards, the driver collapsed and died.
The second man struggled on, knowing his only hope was to reach the hut. He'd lost his gloves in the accident, and his hands were badly frostbitten. By the time he made it into the hut, his hands were useless, but he still managed to light the fire.
The man spent 7 weeks in hospital, and luckily doctors were able to save his hands. But without a doubt, he owes his life to his own thoughtfulness for others and remembering to leave that simple matchbox. Well, it's a beautiful morning. Right, well, now's the moment of truth. Going to see what's in those fishing holes. The crew have bet me a whiskey that there won't be anything. Nothing on that one. Hello, hello, hello. Come on, Mr. Pike. That's great. Beautiful pike for dinner. Couldn't be better. Another one. Number 2. Perfect. Well, not a bad haul though. 2 nice pike. Pretty good, I reckon, for one night's fishing.
I think that'll be a double whiskey, boys. A good meal and a drink. I can't believe my luck. Sometimes survival skills really do pay off. Next week, the power of positive thinking.